Working with Tasmanian devils, it became a passion as soon as I met my first devil. And to this day, 25 years later, I still remember that particular individual. They're very charismatic animals. They can be sweet and kind, and then they can turn around and just want to eat you. Every day with them is a challenge, and it's unique. They're a species that needs help like many others, and for devils, I've got the capacity to help them, and that's just what I want to do. Tasmania is a very special place. We're isolated away from the mainland a couple of 100 kilometres south. It's this ancient bit of land that is very uniquely different. A Tasmanian devil is a carnivorous marsupial, so they perform this really important function in the environment within Tasmania, which is the only place in the world that they live. They're scavengers and they're hunters, so they can rid the environment of sick animals, they can rid the environment of animals that have already died. They're like the cleaners of the bush, so they play this really vital ecological role. Without them, we would live in a very different landscape here. Tasmanian devils across Tasmania used to be abundant, whereas nowadays Devil Facial Tumor Disease has taken hold and reduced the wild population by about 80%. The disease itself is a contagious cancer, and it's passed from one devil to another when a diseased devil bites a healthy devil, and those invading cancerous cells then take over in the recipient animal, and they transform into these very large and disfiguring tumours that will rob the devil of its ability to see if the tumours grow over its eyes, or it can affect their jaws and rob them of their ability to eat. That's a death sentence for that particular animal. It's very quick and very horrible to see. We know that the disease started in the northeast of Tasmania in a place called Mount William. And since that time in 1996, it travelled right along the east coast and started to move west. It was forecast at that time that within about 20 years, it was very likely that devils were going to be extinct in the wild. We've lived through the extinction of the thylacine, and that is something that the Tasmanian Government really doesn't want to see repeated. We don't want to lose another key iconic species. Tasmanian devils are the symbol of Tasmania, and we want them here forever. In 2006, the insurance population was established. I assisted with taking wild-caught devils from Tasmania and setting up breeding populations, training staff how to breed Tasmanian devils, and beginning the recovery effort for the species. Now here we are in 2024, and we're starting to see a plateau with the decline of devils, and in some areas even increasing. So for the Tasmanian Devil Ambassador Program, we look very carefully at the captive population and determine what animals we can remove from that population to be able to send them to international zoos. That not only provides the opportunity for these devils to educate people about the species and about Devil Facial Tumor Disease, but it also really valuably frees up spaces within our captive populations. Those spaces are finite and our facilities fill up. So the Tasmanian Devil Ambassador Program has this vital role in allowing us to free up some of those breeding spaces so that we can breed more devils again. Our relationship with Toledo Zoo has been one of ongoing collaboration for many years. Toledo Zoo have contributed not only by housing Tasmanian devils on behalf of the Tasmanian Devil Ambassador Program, but also providing some really valuable funding and experience towards in situ conservation of Tasmanian devils.
We have a great relationship working with the Tasmanian Government and the Save the Tasmanian Devil program. It's a really great relationship that we've fostered over the years, working with them to help conserve the population of wild Tasmanian devils and also educate people throughout the world. We're here in Tasmania, Australia, and we're actually here to work with the Australian government to bring the Tasmanian devils that are actually going to be exhibited at our zoo. This process has encompassed about 2 years of work between both ourselves and the Tasmanian government. We're working with the devils that we're going to be bringing back with us to the United States and then help distribute those devils throughout some other zoos within the United States, but also the devils that we'll be keeping and housing at Toledo Zoo. I mean, you can't get better training than working with people who work with devils every day. So I'm really excited to get myself and Coral some FaceTime with the keeper staff and also the facility design. I mean, this is what we designed our facility after, so to be here is going to be really, really beneficial.
The site started as a research facility to take in a small amount of animals so that they could understand what Devil Facial Tumor Disease was. And then that evolved into more of a coordinated response to Devil Facial Tumor Disease and setting up the insurance population. These are the original ones, row 1, row 2 and row 3. We didn't know how facial tumour disease was transmitted. We didn't know if it was airborne or what it was. So there had to be a standoff zone between every enclosure. Expanded out into rows 4, 5 and 6 over there, where we expanded the site out that way and added in further enclosures. And then beyond that, we added on the quarantine area. But that started off pretty basic. But it's a multi-category site as far as our biosecurity levels go. We've got the general population here, which is the area that we were just in. That's currently a biosecurity category 3. The quarantine area is 2, and that lets us export out of there.
We've been working with Tasmanian devils here at the Toledo Zoo for close to 10 years, and to be able to work with the individuals that have hands-on experience day in and day out with these Tasmanian devils, it really helps to provide us that really specific information of how best to handle these animals, because I work one-on-one with the keepers that are going to be taking care of these animals once they're back at the Toledo Zoo. There's a lot of hands-on work that we're doing, so we were able to compare and contrast and learn new skills and really work with each other to fine-tune any skills that we can then bring back to Toledo.
These girls are young, so you can tail grab. When they're older, we tend to put all the weight on their chest. If they're comfortable and in a nest box, put the bag over them and then grab the tail. If they're moving around a bit, put a bit of pressure on the back of their neck so that you know where it is and grab the tail.
Okay. Deal.
Don't get bit, you'll make me look bad. You give her a bit to move around and they will naturally find it.
That corner.
And then get it nice and tight.
Gotcha. How much pressure are you putting on her body right now?
As much as she's giving me.
Okay.
So whatever as much pressure as she's trying to get away with, I'll replicate that against her. They're really strong and really hardy, and they will throw out as much as they expect back. So her head's now under there. I've just got her body, back legs facing me. So there's the pouch there. And then inside.
Oh, wow.
Through red oil.
Okay.
So estrus or close to the end of estrus.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
There you go, gorgeous.
It was super cool to get to work with somebody that was so calm and confident and moved so gracefully with these animals. That's a much safer way of getting a visual representation of what's going on with that animal without having to put them under anesthesia, because there's always a risk with anesthesia, so this removes that. And we can get a body condition score, we can get their weight. They were able to do a dental check on a Tasmanian devil in hand without any anesthesia, just because of all of that experience that they have. So super cool.
This time that we're here in Tasmania gives us time to work side by side with them, learn about each animal, and really get hands-on with the individuals we'll be taking with us back to the United States. They all have really great endearing characteristics. Even physical differences is really cute to notice. And each devil really has its own personality.
We got Valentina and Arya Stark. They're spending more time in their box. They don't really want to be out and around us when we go into the exhibit. Tori and Lena, they have been the most active. Mouse and Maza like to spend a lot of time outside of their box, and they seem to want to get up high and look around. And then we got Tabasco and Tequila. That is the male and female pair that we're going to be keeping here in Toledo. Tabasco is the spiciest of probably the 8. Tequila is one of the youngest. She's really little and gives Tabasco a run for his money.
Right now we are doing the final health checks that will allow these devils to be exported, and these checks are just designed to confirm that in their time in pre-export quarantine and the original health check, just nothing has changed between then and now. Looking at the weight of each individual animal, looking at the body condition score for the animal, confirming that nothing has changed there, but the weights will also inform the dosage rates for any treatments that they're going to get. So they'll be treated for internal and external parasites. So the process is we'll get him, bag him, run a microchip scanner over him, get the weight, body condition score we can have a quick feel of. Within the sack, I'll get him down onto the ground And we can just hold him in place, be able to get to the scruff of his neck and get to his rump. All right, this dude is a little bit spicier, so we'll see how we go. 6 kilos less the bag weight, which is 700 grams. So this dude is 5.3. Yeah, good. All right, so yeah, he stays a 3. Back to bed you go, sunshine. Baby.
We're really close to transport day for us, and everybody looks great and looks good to go. So we had a really distinguished visitor today to the facility. It was actually the minister to the Department of the Environment. He's an elected official that precedes over the entire Department of the Environment for Tasmania. A really distinguished guest. It was great to see how really enthused and supportive they are of the Save the Tasmanian Devils program. It just made me more excited to be a part of that collaborative effort and the great conservation message that comes with that. Just very excited to be part of that team effort. So these are actually custom-built crates for us for the shipment. We had 8 of these custom fabricated by the Australian government. It's for their safety and also for staff that might be handling crates. So we can actually check on the animals. We have a mesh cover here that we can actually take out, and then that provides another mesh barrier so we'll be able to feed them. They're gonna get a large feed before we actually load up the animals, so they won't need much feed, but we'll always offer it to them whenever we get a chance to be present with the animals. The water is actually affixed to the side of the crate, which is great, keeps it in place. A port on the side here where we can add water. On the inside, it's a porous floor, so if they were to urinate or anything like that, it would go through here, and we're able to pull these out, disinfect them, and then put it back in. It provides a sanitary environment for the animals. So the crates would also be heavily bedded before we leave. They're gonna have shredded paper bedding. It just provides warmth for the animal, but also the animal is able to make a nest and sort of get comfortable for that long flight. We'll help get the animals ready for transport, and then we'll actually travel on the exact plane the animals are on, so then at any stops, we're able to check on the animals along the way.
We're just hold up. We worked with a company that specifically works with transporting animals internationally. They have a facility that's really well suited for receiving live animals and allows us to actually be with the animals in an air-conditioned space. We were able to feed and water the animals and check on them before the longer leg of the trip from Sydney to the United States. So it was a really well-coordinated effort on the Toledo Zoo's part so that when we arrived in the United States that we had the veterinarians and other animal managers meet us there with a vehicle ready for transport. We were able to see each animal, again, check on them if they needed food and water. We gave them that, and then we were able to
load them into the van for the speedy transport to Toledo Zoo. We arrived after hours, and our first priority was getting the animals unloaded quickly and efficiently. And that process went really smoothly. We were able to unload them directly into the holdings where they'd be quarantined. It really was a great feeling when we finally got here and everything was coming to fruition. All the plans, all the travel was coming to an end. Releasing the animals, seeing them run around their enclosures and check things out. We really couldn't be happier with the way they're transitioning here in Toledo from Australia.
There are a ton of people that don't even know that this is a real animal. They grew up with it as a cartoon, and it's such an interesting species and such a charismatic species. We should be educating, and that's something that we do so well here at Toledo. Keepers really appreciate in their day-to-day job doing something with a purpose. And what better than working with this species that has come back from the brink of extinction, and they get to teach from the ground up of what this animal is and what they're all about. This is the perfect opportunity for them.
This really is one of the best conservation success stories within modern history, and to be able to tell that story and all the hard work that went into saving these animals from the brink of extinction, and all the hard work that the Australian government has taken to make sure that these animals will persist into the future. To tell these important conservation stories, to show off these animals and get people excited about them is really what it's all about. It's a model for other species throughout the world that are endangered or could become endangered. It shows that when a need is seen and a need is taken seriously for an imperiled species in the wild, it shows that you can come together and you can save that species from the brink of extinction. And it's something we're very proud of to be a part of and to talk about. By bringing the animals here into Toledo Zoo, it's a really great opportunity because we want people to come and enjoy these animals, but then we want them to be inspired by these animals and to tell their story about why they're important. And ultimately, this allows us to show people how we take action to actually conserve these animals in their natural habitat.